Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Especially undergraduate. I think it's St. Andre.
Let's go.
I'll start scribbling things like
Yeah, like, you know, if nobody else is there, could I
Going to America?
Yeah, new American back. Exactly.
Look, we're waving. Hey. Pick us nice B-roll, we promise.
I don't know exactly, but yeah.
I like that.
At this, the 173rd commencement exercise for the University of Notre Dame, we, the Chief Marshals of the University, have assembled the graduates, degree candidates, and the faculty in academic procession. We now direct that the gates of the arena be opened for the academic procession of the class of 2018.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the degree candidates and the degree recipients of the University of Notre Dame. Now entering under the white banners are the graduates and degree candidates from the College of Arts and Letters. Since 1999, Arts and Letters faculty have won 62 NEH fellowships, more than any other private university in the country. The college is led by John McGreevy, the I.A. O'Shaughnessy Dean and Professor of History. The 2018 College of Arts and Letters class is composed of 112 PhD, 294 master's, and 592 bachelor's degree students. Entering under the gold and yellow banners are the graduates and degree candidates from the College of Science, led by Mary E. Galvin, the William K. Warren Foundation Dean and Professor of Chemistry and Biochemistry. The college's accelerating research program expands our understanding of the universe while applying discovery to elevate the well-being of individuals and society. The 2018 College of Science class is composed of 93 PhD, 137 master's, and 397 bachelor's degree students. Joining the undergraduates and processing at the end of each line are master's and PhD graduates from each college or school who received their degrees yesterday. 108 doctoral and 685 master's students received their degrees in ceremonies in the Graduate School, the Keough School of Global Affairs, the Graduate Division of the Mendoza College of Business, and the Graduate Division of the School of Architecture. Now entering under the light brown banners are the degree candidates and graduates from the Mendoza College of Business. The college was founded in 1921 and is led by Roger Huang, Martin J. Gillen Dean, and Kenneth R. Meyer, Professor of Global Investment Management. For the past 10 years, Mendoza has been ranked as one of the top undergraduate business schools in the nation, including the #1 spot for 5 consecutive years. The 2018 Mendoza College of Business graduating class is composed of 649 bachelor's and 456 master's degree students. Now entering under the orange banners are the graduates and degree candidates from the College of Engineering. The college was founded in 1873 and is led by Peter Kilpatrick, the McCloskey Dean of Engineering and Professor of Chemical Engineering. The college performed the first ever successful wireless transmission of information in 1893. Wireless transmissions of information have increased since then. The 2018 College of Engineering class is composed of 71 PhD, 64 master's, and 502 bachelor's degree students. under the purple banners are the graduates of the law school. Founded in 1869, it is the oldest Catholic law school in the nation and is led by Nell Jessup Newton, the Joseph A. Matson Dean and Professor of Law. The 2018 law school class is composed of 247 graduates who received their degrees yesterday. Now entering under the blue-violet banners are the graduates and degree candidates from the School of Architecture. The school was founded in 1898. It's led by Michael Lakutis, the Francis and Kathleen Rooney Dean and Professor of Architecture. Notre Dame was the first Catholic university in America to offer a degree in the field. The 2018 class is composed of 14 master's and 36 bachelor's degree students. Peacock blue banners are the graduates and degree candidates from the Keough School of Global Affairs. The Keough School, which prepares students to advance peace, human rights, and other dimensions of integral human development, is composed of 9 international institutes. The school admitted its first class of master's students in global affairs in August. The school is led by Scott Appleby, the Maryland Keough Dean and Professor of History. The 2018 Keough School class is composed of 4 PhD students. Now entering under the blue and gold banner are representatives from the Notre Dame faculty from each college and school. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to greet our President's Leadership Council, trustees, deans, honorees, provost, university president, and other distinguished members of the Commencement Platform Party, led by the University Registrar.
Good morning. I've got great news. Ignore the meteorologist. Father John has decreed it shall not rain during commencement. Members of the class of 2018, your family and friends, trustees, members of the President's Leadership Group, deans, faculty, staff, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is my privilege to welcome you to this, the 173rd commencement exercise in the 176th year in the life of the University of Notre Dame. We are delighted to see so many guests and family members with us today. Today's ceremonies are being simulcast to several locations indoors on campus and are live on the internet. We welcome all of you with us through those venues as well. Please remain standing for the singing of America the Beautiful, led by Reverend James Foster, CSC. Father Foster. Thank you, Father Foster. Please be seated. We will begin our commencement exercises with the invocation, which will be given by this year's salutatorian, Harissa Spadek. Harissa is a biochemistry major who also completed 2 minors, Science, Technology, and Values, and Anthropology. Harissa was born as a refugee to parents escaping genocide in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Her life was never easy, but after spending a few minutes with her, you would have no doubt that she would succeed, and succeed she has. She will graduate today with a perfect 4.0 GPA. Harissa is a Questbridge Scholar, a Soren Scholar, and a Fighting Irish Scholar. She was an early inductee into Phi Beta Kappa and was a 2018 Daniel and Ann Crossan Pre-Medical Student Award winner from the Office of Pre-Professional Studies. She has worked in several research labs and presented papers in this country and abroad. But as one of her professors said, she is not only brilliant, she is exceedingly generous. Harissa has volunteered at a variety of service agencies in this country, including Habitat for Humanity, the Center for Hospice Care, and Social Justice in American Medicine, as well as in service organizations in Ireland and Greece. She has also held several jobs on campus, including working for campus catering as an admissions tour guide and student recruitment coordinator, and as a physics lab teaching assistant. After graduation, Harissa will attend medical school at Johns Hopkins. Ladies and gentlemen, our salutatorian, Harissa Spadek.
is tradition at the University of Notre Dame, let us join in prayer. Almighty God, we are gathered here today by your grace to celebrate a transition in many young people's lives, a transition that would not be possible without the support of loved ones, friends, faculty, and staff. To those who have aided us in times of despair and doubt, in times of confusion and hopelessness, we offer thanks. To those who have joined us in moments of triumph and excitement, in moments of euphoria and clarity, we offer our gratitude. We are gathered here today by your grace to come together as a unified yet distinctive whole. As we stand side by side, we are all equal before you. We are all human and made in your image. Please, God, do not let us forget this crucial, unifying premise. We must remain cognizant of it to eliminate the hate and suffering in the world. Today, we are fortunate to have among us those of many backgrounds which strengthen our unified whole. Please, God, do not let us forget to celebrate these differences which make us stronger. Do not let us forget how we have each individually become stronger by joining the Notre Dame family, and how each of us have individually strengthened this family. Regardless of our different faiths, we pray together. Whether we pray to the Lord Jesus Christ, Allah, Yahweh, the Heavenly Father, Brahman, another entity, all entities, or no entity. We are unified in our strivings and dreams, our hardships and failures, to come together as one body with collective hearts to pray. We are gathered here today by your grace to honor the gifts of faith, community, and education from our university. You have provided each and every one of us with the abilities, potentials, and resources to be able to gain acceptance and finish study at the University of Notre Dame du Lac. We have been blessed to carry out Our Lady's mission. God, we are gathered here today by your grace to prepare for our next step. We look forward to carrying out the mission of Our Lady to utilize the skills we have gained to serve your creation, however and wherever that service may take place. Please, God, join us and direct us on this journey. Throughout this journey, fill our collective hearts with gratitude, love, and curiosity to transcend what we thought was possible. We are gathered here today in your grace.
Thank you, Harissa, for a truly beautiful prayer. It is now my privilege to introduce this year's valedictorian, Andrew Stephen Gross from Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Andrew will earn a Bachelor of Science degree in pre-professional studies with a second major in Spanish. Andrew was an early inductee into Phi Beta Kappa, a member of the Glenn Family Honors Program, and the winner of the James T. DiNardo Award, which is given to the outstanding junior science pre-professional student. Andrew was a member of the Notre Dame Liturgical Choir and the Notre Dame Marching Band, where he was recently recognized with the Director's Award as the outstanding senior band member. In recent weeks, he became the recipient of the Department of Pre-Professional Studies Samuel J. Schmel, MD Award, which is given annually to a student who demonstrates a high level of academic achievement, exemplary character, and the highest integrity, and also the Jose Tito Seguenza Award for service to Hispanic youth. He has served at a number of different voluntary service organizations, too numerous to mention, both in South Bend and in Central America. Given this list of accomplishments and activities, it is easy to see why one of his professors wrote of him, "He is not only an outstanding student, he is clearly and fundamentally a good human being who delights in serving others." After graduation, Andrew plans to return to Notre Dame to pursue a Master of Arts degree in Iberian and Latina studies. Following this, he hopes to attend medical school and work as a physician in a global public health setting with a focus on underserved rural communities in both the U.S. and in Central America. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Andrew Stephen Gross for the valedictory.
Judge Moro, Sister Pimentel, Cardinal Supich, Father Jenkins, all honored guests, parents, family, friends, and classmates, it's an honor to be here with you to celebrate the journey of the class of 2018. For most of us, there were certainly moments when we wondered whether we'd make it to this momentous day. But fast forward 4 years from Frasho, and we arrived at Senior Week, awash in sentimentality, rushing to finish our Notre Dame bucket lists, and reflecting on all our experiences here. After all we've accomplished, it may be difficult for us to remember our first few days on campus, when we were just beginning to find our new home under our brilliant Golden Dome. Although we found our rhythms here in our own unique ways, I imagine each of you can remember the first moment you felt connected to the Notre Dame family. I found my rhythm here quite literally, which leads me to make a confession. Luckily, I'm in the right place for one. One of the reasons I chose this world-class university, this pinnacle of higher learning, was the hope that I could somehow be a member of the band of the Fighting Irish. Admittedly, this was quite a naive goal for a high school drummer who had never marched a step in his life. After spending my first night here in Keenan Hall, without air conditioning, I spent my first week here at band camp, learning to march to the beat of the drum major and praying for a miracle. Luckily, someone heard me. Maybe it was our Blessed Mother. Maybe it was Dr. Dye. But to my surprise, I was welcomed into the drumline. As a member of this university's band, I met some of the finest musicians, students, and family I have ever known. As we all found our rhythms and our footing, as we navigated the quads and made our first new friends through dorms, intramurals, clubs, and seminars, we explored what ND had to offer. We met caring professors who were experts in their fields. Dr. Brown and Dr. Paris guided some of us through that gauntlet of Gen Chem and Organic, and we learned that getting a B or a C on a test was not necessarily the end of the world. Theology, philosophy, and classics introduced us to works from Augustine's Confessions to Dante's Inferno, and we learned things such as what the end of the world might actually look like. We discovered the interchange, inquiry, and endless self-critical conversation that are central to Notre Dame's mission, and we decided to make this mission our own. After we started getting in step with Notre Dame, we started composing our own futures. We chose our majors, decided our mentors, and surrounded ourselves with people who could help us better articulate our goals. We began to think critically about the issues that inspired us, such as sustainable development, rare diseases, and international affairs. Perhaps it was at this stage, where we began marching to our own beat, that we were most afraid of stumbling. There were challenges that most of us had never encountered. Some of us met these challenges as we engaged in dialogue and debate with our peers and professors, as we tried to push the boundaries of knowledge and expression in the lab or on stage, and as we encountered places and people we had never met before in the service and study abroad settings. I was certainly afraid of stumbling last summer when I participated in the university's summer service learning program through the CSC. I was working with an organization named Libres de Amor. It was a Salvadoran nonprofit focused on pediatric health. Our setting was rural Morazan, a department near the Honduran border still feeling the effects of a civil war that had ended almost 20 years ago. As a Spanish and pre-med major, I couldn't wait to practice my language skills and put my education to use in a medical setting. But after a month, I was still feeling out of my element. Was I really contributing to my team? I had hoped I could acquire the language of our patients, not only the intonation and dialect of Salvadoran Spanish, but also a shared understanding of our patients' history and identity. But one rather symbolic moment brought me back to a reality. During one of many house visits, after weighing and measuring one of many squirming toddlers, I tried to engage this kid's 12-year-old brother in some conversation. How are you? What subjects do you like in school? What's your favorite football team, Real or Barca? He said very little in response. He mostly smiled and nodded as I babbled on in Spanish. Just when I thought we were getting along pretty well, he turned to his mother and he said, "Mamá, casi no lo entiendo." Roughly translated, this meant, "Mom, I barely understand what this dude is saying." 3 years into my Spanish major at Notre Dame, I was saying the words correctly, but I still wasn't speaking the language. This wasn't only a matter of dialect, but also an issue of engaging in the right kind of dialogue with my surroundings. We all experience times when we struggle to speak as easily as we have before. We stumble and we want to retreat. But invariably, throughout our 4 years here, someone helped us. Our site directors, host moms, team members, hall staff, coaches, priests, professors, principal investigators, parents, they all encouraged us to persevere and to take pride in how far we had come. We owe so much to these teachers, friends, and guides. Sometimes they were just part of our normal routine, but they still made all the difference. At South Dining Hall, for example, we came to count on those daily pick-me-ups from our dear friend John Richard, who always greeted us with a warm and fatherly smile and made sure to remind us if they were serving Carl's chicken that night. Within our studies, our favorite professors worked closely with us as we shaped our futures and listened for our own rhythms. They pushed us as we took exams, revised essays, went to office hours, and practiced speeches. Ultimately, all of these people were our mentors. They provided us with opportunities for reflection, community, and connection. They showed us who we are, what moves us. They encouraged us to keep going and to take risks. They knew that this was the only way for us to keep engaging with the issues that matter to us most. One day in El Salvador, as I struggled mightily to find my purpose, our team leader, Claudia, asked me to take a considerable risk. She wanted me to lead Libras de Amor's equivalent of a Mommy and Me music and movement class. I, of all people, would be leading moms and kids in song and dance, and then talking with them about the importance of music to brain development. Did she see something I didn't see in myself at the time? I hesitated initially. I was afraid to disappoint her. But then I called upon a lesson that Our Lady's University has taught all of us: the need to have faith and to take a risk. So I set about learning a childhood's worth of Salvadoran nursery rhymes at a record pace. When I finally stood before the circle of mothers and their babies, who were always happy to see me, the songs we sang together began to unlock a deeper rhythm within me. As we shared in song, I also earned the trust of the patients we cared for. As we opened up and shared our experiences, I learned more than I could have ever imagined about life in Morazan. Not only its stories of war and poverty and need, but also of hope and resilience. I began speaking the language of my surroundings. I found a new dimension of my faith, a new calling to public health and to Spanish, both lifelong rhythms I wanted to keep playing. And in my studies, especially with the guidance from my mentors in Spanish and pre-professional studies, psychology, and theology, I was able to continue learning more about this faith. Notre Dame has taught us to nurture and develop our faith with every risk we've taken. At times, this faith has called us to sing with a loud voice, from the triumphant hymns of Holy Week in the Basilica to the passionate chants of our activist groups. At other moments, it has called us to remain silent and to listen for the tunes that others are playing. 3 years ago, when we lined Holy Cross Drive and silently accompanied Father Hesburgh's funeral procession, we were listening together for the charge Hesburgh had entrusted to us to continue our endless conversation by listening to our neighbors, grasping their hands, and extending our hearts, to imagine beyond our comfort zones, and to take risks. This was the song Father Ted was, and still is, playing on repeat. All of these experiences have strengthened our faith. We have listened more closely for purpose and direction, and we have responded more strongly by working harder to achieve our goals. Today, we have found our own voices. We have attuned ourselves to our own surroundings. We have learned Notre Dame's rhythms, and we are ready to go out into the world with our own rhythms. But we must not consider today the end of our Notre Dame song. As the term commencement suggests, we are not here to pack up and abandon our instruments, our tools, our books. We are only finishing the warm-up. We are the band, and we are preparing to trot out of that tunnel for the pregame show. The moments leading up to this trot are full of energy, but also uncertainty. Is my shake-a-wan straight? What if I miss a step? What if my trot becomes a trip and a headfirst splat onto the turf? Graduates, are these not questions we're asking ourselves right now? As we march on into our fields of work and study and service, we take off our mortarboards and don new uniforms that may feel unsettling. We take on performances much more challenging, but much more necessary than ever, pursuing social justice in healthcare, countering the movements to dehumanize immigrants and refugees, pushing all of the boundaries of all of our disciplines. It is easy to miss a step. As the stakes become higher, it becomes much easier to stumble than before. But we must not be afraid to stumble if we hope to continue singing Notre Dame's lyrics and playing its rhythm. We must not be afraid to expose ourselves to new rhythms and lyrics that may appear foreign at first, but that can transform us later. As we prepare to step off into our futures, think back to our first Mass as the class of 2018, when we rather awkwardly wrapped our arms around each other and swayed to our alma mater for the very first time. What felt strange and clumsy then is now second nature to us, a natural expression of love for each other and for this extraordinary community. And today, we are charged with a mission to be ambassadors of Notre Dame's lyrics, its song, its rhythm. Like the band members eagerly waiting to burst out of that tunnel, we too have a tradition to preserve. This tradition is too valuable not to maintain, not to share with others. Are we ready to keep this pulse alive? Graduates, it is time for us to march fearlessly to this wonderful beat. As we proceed with confidence and hope from our crossroads, let us take time to acknowledge the words boldly inscribed above its iconic tunnel. Here come the Irish. Class of 2018, here we come.
Andrew, unlike that little Salvadoran boy, we not only understood every word, but we learned from them. You're able to take simple words and put them in powerful phrases like compose your future, develop your faith with every risk you take, be ambassadors for the lyrics and songs of Notre Dame. Thank you for instructing us. Thank you for a wonderful commencement address. best wishes to you for much success in the future. Thank you. We now proceed to the conferral of honorary degrees. The highest degree in the Academy is the doctorate, a degree which designates that the recipient has completed a rigorous course of studies, passed a stern set of examinations, and produced a major piece of original scholarship. Fulfilling these requirements demonstrates that the individual has enormous potential to improve and enrich the world. From time to time, universities also award honorary doctoral degrees. As difficult as an academic doctoral degree is to earn, honorary doctoral degrees are even more difficult, and they require even more effort, for they are not awarded for showing the potential to improve the world, but for actually improving it. As such, when a university gives an honorary degree, it is not honoring someone. It is recognizing honor and virtue that already exist in someone. Their presence honors us. 6 individuals have been selected to receive honorary degrees in this year's class. We will now confer those degrees. At the 173rd commencement, the May exercises, the University of Notre Dame confers the degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa on a prophetic and practical shepherd who has answered injustice with courage, extended compassion to the marginalized, and spoken truth and mercy to the contentious polemics that divide us. As the pastor of an archdiocese with 360 parishes, where Mass is celebrated in 26 languages, this prelate advances the Church's 21st century renewal by engaging deeply with thorny societal issues while reminding us that, quote, real stability in life is not the wall of our accomplishments, but the faithfulness of those we love and the faithfulness of God, close quote. A native of Omaha, the birthplace of many famous people, he now serves as the Archbishop of Chicago, and he models Pope Francis' vision for the Church as a field hospital which runs to serve those on the periphery, extending healing, mercy, and forgiveness to a world in need. On Blaise Joseph Cardinal Sipich, Chicago, Illinois. The University of Notre Dame confers a degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa on a loyal son who has imparted his singular wisdom and guiding leadership while serving in roles of consequence in public and private sectors worldwide. As a steward of multinational banks and consulting firms, he has provided sustained and steady direction in times of economic turbulence and offered equally fruitful guidance and philanthropic support to numerous organizations in his beloved hometown of Chicago. Devoted to his family and his faith, he is a former navigator of Navigant, an executive of Ex-Tehran, an innovator at Enova. He also has one other title that we here today are immeasurably grateful for: Trustee and Fellow of the University of Notre Dame. On William M. Goodyear, Jr., Chicago, Illinois. The University of Notre Dame confers a degree of Doctor of Laws honoris causa on a graduate of Our Lady's University who is widely regarded as the father of the Bengali Constitution and whose efforts to liberate his country led once to incarceration and later to exile when a military coup uprooted the democracy that he helped to establish. After surviving the genocide that preceded an independent Bangladesh, he was a close advisor to the new nation's first prime minister, and during that tumultuous period, he helped forge the nation's foundational documents, served as its Minister of Laws and Foreign Affairs, argued contentious cases before the High Court, and co-authored the charter for the Awami League political party. A proud witness to his nation's flag flying for the first time at the United Nations, this renowned jurist has been called to the world's courts as an arbiter and an advocate, a defender of human rights, a commissioner on numerous UN investigations, and always a tireless, benevolent champion of the people. On Kamal Hussein, Dhaka, Bangladesh. The University of Notre Dame confers a degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, on a courageous champion of justice who has fought for integrity through unflinching application of law. A judge in southern Brazil who had studied the successful prosecution of corruption in Italy, his office was assigned a routine investigation into money laundering at a car wash. Despite the involvement of powerful figures, he presided without fear or favor, exposing a system of graft, bribery, and money laundering that reached the highest levels of government and corporate leadership. For his selfless effort to return accountability and integrity to public service, on Sergio Fernando Moro, Curitiba, Paraná, Brazil. The University of Notre Dame confers a degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, on an optical physicist of uncommon vision, whose work in ultra-fast lasers and soft X-rays propels her field to the limits of frequency and speed. Raised in County Limerick, she inherited a love of learning from her father, and at the age of 9 was determined to become a physicist, because, she said, it offered the excitement of discovery. She was first drawn to lasers and optics while pursuing a graduate degree in physics at the University of California, Berkeley. Today, lasers based on her design are changing science as researchers probe processes inside molecules on extremely short timescales. A member of the National Academy of Sciences and recipient of many awards and accolades, she proudly helps her students attain their dreams, encourages women in the field, and works to advance scientific enterprise in her native Ireland. On Mary Margaret Mernon, Boulder, Colorado. The University of Notre Dame confers a degree of Doctor of Laws, honoris causa, on a native of Tramore, Ireland, and one of 7 children born to Julie and Arthur Richardson. She is a groundbreaking political scientist whose scholarship has redefined our understanding of terrorism, examining its roots and objectives, and influencing public policy on an international scale. After earning a bachelor's degree at Trinity College, Dublin, she earned advanced degrees at UCLA and then Harvard, where she remained for almost 20 years as an internationally renowned scholar, award-winning teacher, skilled public speaker, and sought-after administrator. In 2009, she became the chief executive of the University of St. Andrews, doubly notable as the first woman and the first Roman Catholic to hold that position. In 2016, she made history again when she became the chief executive of the University of Oxford, the first woman to serve as vice-chancellor in its 900-year history. And Louise Richardson, Oxford, United Kingdom.
When I visited Latin America in 2016, and again last year, I met with educators and church officials and Notre Dame alumni from all walks of life, and we talked about many things: humanities, science, innovation, the importance of applied research, and faith. We talked about the riches of Latin America and the close ties between Notre Dame and its people. But again and again, the conversations in Brazil, Chile, Argentina, Mexico, and many other parts of the world as well return to the topic of values and ethics and how we must prepare our graduates to combat the blight of corruption that erodes the rule of law, robs from ordinary people, and undermines a commitment to the common good essential to a healthy society. When Mario Vargas Llosa, the Peruvian writer who for decades has commented eloquently on corruption and tyranny in Latin America, received the Nobel Prize in 2010, he was described as someone who fought for freedom, quote, with political courage and common sense, unquote. The same could be said of today's commencement speaker. It is fitting, then, that Vargas Llosa, the Nobel laureate himself, just last month wrote the following, and I quote, "There are many admirable people in Brazil, but if I had to choose just one of them as an exemplar to show the rest of the world, I would choose Sergio Moro in a heartbeat," unquote. Our Ladies University reached the same conclusion last year when we conferred the Notre Dame Award on Judge Sergio Moro at a ceremony in Sao Paulo. We cited him for what the world would recognize: his courageous efforts to preserve his nation's integrity through steadfast, unbiased application of law. By addressing the pernicious problems of public corruption in a judicious but unyielding way, Dr. Moro has made a marked difference for all Brazilians and for humankind in our universal thirst for justice. He does this, I know, at great risk to himself and to his family. Dr. Moro is the son of educators. He received his Bachelor's of Laws in 1995 from Maringo State University. The following year, he joined the federal bench. He returned to academia to earn his Doctor of Laws from the Federal Universities of Paraná in 2002. He has presided now for 2 decades in the federal judiciary and serves as an adjunct professor at his alma mater. The New York Times described Dr. Moro as the face of the national reckoning for Brazil's ruling class. Fortune ranked him 13th on the list of the world's greatest leaders, and Time magazine included him among the world's 100 most influential people. At Notre Dame, we embrace Sergio Moro a bit more intimately as an honorary member of the class of 2018 and as a good and admirable friend. Graduates, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Sergio Fernando Moro.
Father John Jenkins, the Board of Trustees of the University of Notre Dame, members of the faculty, professors, staff, Thank you all for the opportunity to be here. I'm very honored. To begin, let me congratulate all of you, the newest graduates, the class of 2018. Graduation at the University of Notre Dame is a tremendous achievement. New challenges wait outside for you all, but this day is for joy and celebration. So, congratulations. I also want to congratulate the parents. It's not easy to raise sons and daughters, to try to teach them by words and example, to save for the cost of education, and to hope that everything will somehow work out. So their success on this day is partly your success. I'm a judge in Brazil, and you probably don't know, I'm also a father. My younger child, a boy, is still in school, but my older daughter is attending law school in Brazil. I'm proud just for her being there, and I can barely imagine how proud I'll be on her graduation day. Therefore, fathers and mothers and other relatives, I do have at least an idea about how deep your pride is at this moment. Congratulations. Allow me to say that when I received the invitation to deliver this commencement speech, it was a great honor, a challenge also, but it was, above all, a great surprise. What does a judge of a Latin America country have to do with a commencement ceremony of a distinguished university in the United States? After some reflections, I concluded that, after all, this is really a small world. I work on very hard cases involving criminal corruption in Brazil, and it's necessary to say that I receive great influence from the work of others, not only in Brazil but abroad. Let me cite, for example, the work of the famous Italian judge, Judge Giovanni Falcone. Falcone was a judge in Sicily at a time when the Italian mafia, the Cosa Nostra, lived with impunity and seemed to be invincible. The bosses were never punished for their crimes. At that time, in the 1980s, the mafia killed policemen, prosecutors, judges, and politicians. They killed even a general of the Italian army, anyone who dared to defy them. But with the work of Judge Falcone and his brave colleagues, the mafia rule was put to an end. In a famous Maxi trial, which took almost 2 years and finished in 1987, 344 mafiosis, including bosses, were finally convicted. The Sicily Mafia still exists, but not anymore with the same power they had before. I remember reading in one of Falcone's books about the admiration he had for United States laws against organized crime and how the Laetare Act, the Italian statute approved in 1982, criminalizing mafia associations, was influenced by the RICO Act. RICO means Racketeer Influence Organization, and it is a United States statute approved in 1970. What makes all this a very small word is that the RICO Act was drafted by a graduate from Notre Dame University. George Robert Blakey, graduate here in philosophy and afterward in law, finished his studies in 1960. He later served as a law professor at the University of Notre Dame. Despite his rich academic and public service achievements, his work as one of the main drafters of the RICO Act deserves special emphasis. This statute gave to law enforcement agents the necessary tool to effectively dismantle criminal organizations. It was used, for example, to dismantle the 5 mafia families of New York at the end of the last century. It influenced not only the Laetare Act, but also similar statutes all around the world. In my country, Blake's work influenced Brazilian Act number 12,850, approved in 2013, which defined criminal organizations and also gave to Brazil law enforcement agents the necessary investigative tools to focus on crimes committed by them, including wiretaps and plea agreements. It has a large impact on corruption cases in the Lava Jato operation, about which I will speak later. What does all this tell you? To me, it means that everything is connected in this small world. And you could have a reasonable expectation that what you do here in the United States, or more specifically at the University of Notre Dame, could have a positive impact abroad, all around the globe. This makes your responsibilities even bigger. Now allow me to say something about Brazil and my work there, because that's in part the reason for me being here. I think it's possible to extract some general lessons or suggestions for you from what's happening in Brazil. Brazil is the biggest country in Latin America, and it's the 8th largest economy of the world. It has a lot of points in common with the United States. After all, we are Americans in the new world with all that represents. We got our independence in 1822. You got yours in 1776. Both countries suffered with slavery in the 19th century. Both countries received millions of immigrants from all over the world. In Brazil, we have not only Portuguese, but Italians, Japanese, Germans, Lebanese, and Spanish. Our democracy is not as old as United States democracy. To be honest, we have suffered since our independence several dictatorships. The last one ended in 1985. Since then, Brazilian citizens have recovered all their democratic rights and freedom. Since then, it's possible to say that we, like you here, have the same dreams of liberty and equality. However, after recovering our democracy, we have still made several mistakes. It seems that we in Brazil, as a people, failed to prevent the misuse and abuse of public power for private gain. So corruption grew, and in time it became widespread, endemic, or even systemic. Anyway, since 2014, a giant investigation under my jurisdiction was started. It's about billions of dollars of bribes paid in public contracts to public officials and high-level politicians. The case is named Lava Jato Operation. In English, they call it car wash operation. It's not possible to describe here everything about the case or to explain exactly why it has such a strange name. But let me say that different from our past of impunity for grand corruption, this time several powerful criminals are being tried by due process and being held accountable. Nowadays, as a result of this investigation, more than 157 persons were convicted for bribery and money laundering. Among them, there are powerful businessmen and politicians like executives and CEOs of Brazilian biggest construction companies, executives of Petrobras, which is a Brazilian state-owned company, and high-level politicians like congressmen, a former governor, a former secretary of finance of the federal government, a former speaker of the House, and even a former president. It's interesting to note that it was also discovered that some bribes were also paid by Brazilian companies for public officials and politicians abroad. For example, in other Latin American countries. Some of these countries received the evidence and they are building their own cases. Because of that, some people say there is a kind of anti-corruption wave all over Latin America. And to be honest, this may be happening in many, many parts of the world. We all recently heard news about corruption charges and convictions against the former president of South Africa and the former president of South Korea. In Brazil, I'm just one of many people working on this investigation. Let's make clear, it's the product of an institutional action by judges, prosecutors, and police officers. This work has not been easy. Old acts of systemic corruption and impunity are hard to overcome. There are threats, menaces, risks, and attempts at defamation. Some criminals and their allies don't want to change the status quo of bribery and impunity, and there are many, and they are powerful. Despite that, the investigation, the prosecution, and the trials are in progress, and Brazilian people support them. Since 2015, millions of Brazilian citizens went to the street to protest against corruption and in support of the car wash probe. A poll in April this year showed that 84% of Brazilians want the probe to continue. Of course, the systemic corruption uncovered in Brazil is shameful. But there is another way to look at this picture. There is no shame in the enforcement of the law. As once said by United States former President Theodore Roosevelt, now I'm quoting, "The exposure and punishment of public corruption is an honor to a nation, not a disgrace." All these efforts are worthy. All Brazilians have an infinite hope that at the end we'll have a stronger economy and a democracy with more integrity and with a better overall quality. In summary, we don't want to be known as a kind of bribe nation, but as a strong and modern democracy with rule of law. What the case taught me, not as a judge, but as a man, is that you should never give up on a fight for a good cause. Not so long ago, corruption and impunity seemed invincible. For some, it was a kind of natural fate, a tropical disease. But in truth, it's just a product of institutional weakness. No country is destined to live with it. You can deal with the problem and reduce impunity and corruption. You just need the political will to do so. I don't know what will happen with Brazil's future. We could suffer setbacks, but I do believe we have given ourselves at least a chance to have a better country. Anyway, I believe that what really matters is what you stand for, and fighting for integrity in public life is a worthy cause. Coming to the last part of my speech, let me say again that you are in a day of joy and celebration. You are graduating for University of Notre Dame, this distinguished institution. You will start a new stage of your lives. You will be lawyers, judges, physicians, engineers, scientists, astronauts, professors, whatever your wishes and your talents are capable of. I really hope that you all be happy in your careers and also in your private lives. But although it's true that every person exists as an end in himself, as Kant, the Königsberg philosopher, has said, it's also true that no man is born for himself, as Walling, one of the levelers of the Old England, taught. So, never forget to act with integrity and with virtue in your private and public life. Never stop fighting for these values within your community. Never give up on demanding virtue and integrity from your government. Never forget the cornerstone of democratic nations, which is the rule of law. It means that everyone is entitled to equal protection of the law. In this meaning, it works to protect the most vulnerable. But it also means that no one is above the law. Thomas Fuller, also from England, once said, "Be you never so high, the law is above you." That's what makes democracies a government by law. This is a lesson not only for Brazil, but even to mature democracies. Democracy starts to fade when citizens turn their backs on public matters, and when citizens stop caring if their government works for the common good, or only for special interests. Allow me now to give 4 short suggestions from my experience. They are not suggestions for future criminal judges, prosecutors, or police officers, although some of you could hold an office like that in the future. These are suggestions for citizens concerned for their liberties and rights, including freedom from a corrupted government. First, as I said earlier, never give up on a fight for a good cause. Even if you lose, what really matters is what you stand for. Second, always remember that even in the most difficult moments, when it seems that the challenges before you are unsurmountable, you will never be alone if you're fighting for a just cause or for justice. Third, remember that your behavior can inspire others. You'll be surprised by how other people could help if they had good examples and received the right incentives. Fourth, never surrender to the evils of corruption or despair. Above all, there is no victory if along the path you lose your soul. Now, take a moment and look around you. Beside you are your friends. You'll probably carry these friendships for the rest of your life. Real friends are forever. Just take another moment and look a little bit further. There are your parents, your relatives, your professors, and also the university personnel. They all care for you, and you care for all of them. But now, take a longer moment and think about the larger picture, about the country you live in, and the small world that we all live together and share. Beyond the personal pursuit of happiness, it's also your duty to care for them, not only for integrity and virtue, but also for the well-being of all. We face new challenges in this new century. We still live in a world of deep inequality, where not everyone is free or has the necessary minimum to live with dignity. Some say that there is a risk of democratic retreat in the world. I'm not sure I believe in this because of the enduring strain of democratic values, freedom and equality. They are at the core of our hearts and minds, and they are celebrated at shared institutions like the University of Notre Dame. It's incumbent upon all of you to defend our liberties and rights and to continue the fight for true democracy. There is still much to be done. I hope that you all are successful. Thank you all for your attention. Good luck and Godspeed, or as we say in Brazil, boa sorte e vão com Deus.
Judge Moro, your actions and words in Brazil were courageous. Your words to us today were powerful. Your example is inspiring, and we can all hope infectious. You've challenged us by your words and your life. You have honored us by your presence. You can see how this whole community admires what you have done. Please know that our thoughts and our prayers are with you as you continue to impose the rule of law in Brazil and have it spread throughout the world. Thank you very much. Just as you graduates will now begin a new life outside the university, so too will several members of the faculty who enter emeritus status from Notre Dame at the end of this academic year. Each has served the university and countless numbers of students with distinction and commitment. You can find the full list on page 73 of the program. It is my privilege to recognize those emeriti faculty in attendance today. I will ask each emeritus faculty member to rise and turn toward the students when I call your name and to remain standing until all have been named. Douglas Castle, Professor, Law School, 13 years. Ava Preacher, Professional Specialist, Arts and Letters, Undergraduate Studies, 27 years. And John P. Welly, Professor, Romance Languages and Literatures, 35 years. Please join me in thanking these faculty for their careers at Notre Dame. On behalf of the university, I now have the honor of recognizing faculty members for their excellence in teaching and advising. Their names are listed on pages 81 and 82 of the commencement program. Earlier today, the photos of the award winners were shown on the video boards. I ask all the faculty receiving awards for their teaching and advising to please rise, and would all of you help me congratulate them. Class of 2018, while these individuals are being singled out for their excellence in teaching and advising, it is right to recognize your other teachers as well. Next to your families, you may owe more to your faculty and rectors for your degree, for your formation, for your university education, than to any other single group of individuals. Without them, the knowledge you acquired would have come without insight or wisdom. The teaching you received would have lacked special caring. In the future, when you look back at your time studying here, I suspect it will not be the facts that you learn that you will cherish the most, but the people who clothe those facts with insight and caring. I ask all the faculty and rectors to rise, and I ask the class of 2018 and all of us as well to give them one final ovation. Although all graduates here today have earned the ultimate prize, your degree, many of our students have also won special awards and prizes. They are listed on pages 73 and 82 to 98 of the commencement booklet. I ask all of you who have received awards and prizes, undergraduate, graduate, and professional students, to please stand and be recognized. Thank you. Next, I ask you to join me in congratulating those students who are graduating with Latin honors. With those students graduating summa cum laude, who are in the top 5% of their college's class, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. With those students graduating magna cum laude, who are in the top 15% of their college's class, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. And with those students graduating cum laude, who are in the top 30% of their college's class, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to call on the Chair of the Board of Trustees, Mr. John J. Brennan, for the introduction of our Laetare Medal winner.
Hermana, welcoming you to Notre Dame, we acknowledge the titles and contours of a sterling ecclesial resume. A religious sister of the Missionaries of Jesus, as Executive Director of the Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley, you oversee the efforts of the Diocese of Brownville to provide food, shelter, medical care, and hope to the poor of all 4 of the Valley's counties. Organizing a merciful local response to the first surge of Central American immigrants seeking asylum in the United States 4 years ago, you helped found the Humanitarian Respite Center in McAllen, Texas, which has since welcomed and assisted tens of thousands of souls seeking safety and refuge. Recently praising you as an exemplar for all American women religious, Pope Francis, unable to restrain his affection, blurted, "Is it appropriate for a pope to say this? I love you very much." The daughter of Mexican immigrants. Yeah, give her a hand. The daughter of Mexican immigrants, you became an American citizen by sheer chance, born in Texas while your parents awaited a government decision on their application for U.S. residency, and raised entre dos fronteras. Your kinfolk come from Brownsville and from Matamoros. Like so many others in the region, yours is one family, one community, one people residing in two countries. In a homeland straddling the banks of the Rio Grande, you lived a family life as you would later forge a ministry in contention with walls. You learned how walls cleave communities, countries, and communions, and how they harrow human hearts and souls. No wonder you enlisted in the service of a kingdom without walls and of a king who tears them down. For your recognition of the face of Christ beyond the wretched walls we build and your intolerance of all that barricades us from our immigrant Lord. For your beckoning us to the breach through which we welcome him and find the gift of our own salvation. For your vision of the dignity of the universal human pilgrimage to the Father and the kindnesses you extend to those on every stage of that journey. The University of Notre Dame, his mother and our own, rejoices to confer on you its highest honor, the Laetare Medal, on Sister Norma Pimentel, M.J., San Juan, Texas.
Thank you. Wow. Muchas gracias. I am a product of the American dream of an immigrant. My father, Joaquin Pimentel. Days before I was to be born, he came to this country with great hopes to live the American dream. A dream that if you work hard and contribute to the betterment of this country, you will have the opportunity to succeed, to be respected, and for your family to have a chance to succeed in life, to go to school, to have a job, to have a home. A dream that so many others have today, especially young, vibrant dreamers who were brought here as babies at no fault of their own, and now have hopes to be given a chance to live out their extraordinary lives and contribute to the welfare of our country. If my dad had not come with those hopes, I would not be here today. When as a young father, with great resilience and determination to live out his family values in this country, he made it possible for God's divine plan to unfold in my life here in the United States of America. Not only being a voice for the voiceless, but also giving a voice to the voiceless. My father, many more have come to our borders with an American dream, a dream that in many cases is shattered when they encounter both abuses and mistreatment along the journey and when they arrive here. Receiving this Laetare Medal is a bittersweet honor for me. I can't but think of the tens of thousands of immigrants, families, men, women, and children who are suffering in search of life. I see the many children, little ones, 5, 10 years old, whose faces are full of tears, asking, "Por favor, ayúdame. Please, help me." And at the same time, this Laetare Medal of Honor highlights the heroic acts of kindness of thousands of caring souls who join me in the humanitarian response to a human reality we are living at the southern border of the United States in the Rio Grande Valley, where I come from. A community who has tirelessly given of themselves unconditionally for hours and hours, sometimes sacrificing their last hours of sleep, getting up at 4 in the morning to pick up groups of immigrants to make sure they don't miss their bus that leaves very early in the morning, or making hundreds of sandwiches we later give to each family as part of a bag of goodies for the journey ahead, or simply being there to welcome the immigrant families that are arriving and saying, bienvenidos, welcome. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? And how can I help you? We have come together as one people, one community. Together, we have come to encounter the suffering Jesus, who we find among us. In Scripture, we read Jesus letting us know where we can find him. I was hungry, and you gave me to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me to drink. I was imprisoned, and you visited me. I was a stranger, an immigrant, and you welcomed me. Early on in my religious life, I learned a very important lesson of life. Thanks to my mentor, late Sister Juliana Garcia, an extraordinary woman, a missionary of Jesus, who helped me define myself as who I am today. Back in the 1980s, our Bishop then John J. Fitzpatrick entrusted the Missionaries of Jesus, my religious community, with the responsibility to oversee a refugee shelter for immigrants named after Archbishop Oscar Romero. One day, Sister Juliana and myself, during our lunchtime, decided to stop at our congressman's office to offer moral support to a group of people gathered to question why the congressman was in favor of sending 1 million tax dollars a day to El Salvador for arms. Sister Juliana and myself were going there to offer moral support since the group was advocating for the families migrating north that we were receiving at Casa Oscar Romero. We were familiar with the atrocities the people of El Salvador suffered. Because the building manager was furious to have the group at the congressman's office, he closed the building and called the police. Everyone was being dragged out by the police. That's when Sister Juliana turns to me and says, Norma, we can't just walk away. If we say we believe in something and walk away when it gets tough, then no somos nada. We are nothing. So we can't both be arrested. One of us needs to take care of the shelter and the families. So you decide who it's going to be, you or me. It was at this moment in my life that I came to define myself and know who I was and who God was calling me to be. I took that first defining moment in my life and said, me. I am the youngest and the one who should stay. So I did. It is in these precise moments like this that we must decide who we are. Today, our country Our world, for that matter, is divided, polarized into two opposing sides. Those who believe we are called to primarily defend and protect ourselves, and those who believe we have a moral responsibility to defend and protect everyone we can. My bishop back home, Daniel Flores, told a confirmation group, if we could obtain the grace to really see the face of Christ in our neighbor, the world would be more human and at the same time more divine. To obtain such a grace, we must ask the Holy Spirit. At a very young age, our Holy Mother Mary received the grace of the Holy Spirit and said, yes, let it be done, hágase. And with her yes, we have salvation. Today, you have the opportunity to decide what you will be beyond this point. Will you say yes to God, to His plan in your life? Not be afraid to stand with those that need you to protect and defend them? What will be your response to our world, which needs you to make a difference and speak for the voiceless and help the voiceless have a voice? And as a good friend I met here in Notre Dame said to me, que Dios te dé buen camino. God give you a good road ahead. And to that I add, may you always rejoice. Thank you.
Sister Norma, what you have done through devoting your life to others, especially immigrants, yourself, the daughter of immigrants, is a wonderful example of what Jesus meant when He commanded us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Your example to us encourages us to do the same, and you saw the wonderful reception that it received. It is said that a university's values are defined by those it chooses to honor. It is a privilege for us to honor you and to be part of what you have started. Thank you very much. Yesterday, degrees were awarded by the Graduate School, the Graduate Division of the Mendoza College of Business, the Law School, and the Keough School for Global Affairs, so that we too may congratulate these graduates. With those of you who received your degrees in one of the ceremonies yesterday, please rise and be recognized. Thank you. The dean of each college and school awarding baccalaureate degrees will now formally present the university's president, Father John Jenkins, the candidates for their degrees. I ask that each dean in turn, beginning with Dean John McGreevy of the College of Arts and Letters, please come forward to present the candidates for the baccalaureate degrees.
Will the candidates for the bachelor degree in the College of Arts and Letters and the faculty of the College of Arts and Letters please rise? Reverend Father President, I am pleased to present to you the candidates who have completed the requirements for the bachelor degree in the College of Arts and Letters. As Dean of the College and in the name of the faculty of the College, I now ask that you confer upon these students the degree which they have earned.
Thank you, Dean McGreevy. By the authority vested in me as president of the University of Notre Dame du Lac, and in the name of the trustees of the university and the faculty of the College of Arts and Letters, I solemnly confer on you the degree recommended by your dean. We admit you to all its rights and privileges and remind you of its responsibilities. God bless you all. Congratulations.
Will the candidates for the bachelor degree in the College of Science and the faculty of the College of Science please rise? Reverend Father President, I am pleased to present to you the candidates who have completed the requirements of the bachelor degree in the College of Science. As Dean of the College of Science and in the name of the faculty of the college, I now ask that you confer upon these students the degree which they have earned.
Thank you, Dean Galvin. By the authority vested in me as president of the University of Notre Dame du Lac, in the name of the trustees of the university and the faculty of the College of Science, I solemnly and publicly confer on you the degree recommended by your dean. We admit you to all its rights and privileges and remind you of the responsibilities you are about to assume. May God bless you. Congratulations.
Will the candidates for the bachelor degree in the College of Engineering and the faculty of the College of Engineering please rise? Reverend Father President, I am pleased to present to you the candidates who have completed the requirements for the bachelor degree in the College of Engineering. As Dean of the College and in the name of the faculty of the college, I now ask that you confer upon these students the degree which they have earned.
Thank you, Dean Kilpatrick. By the authority vested in me as president of the University of Notre Dame du Lac, in the name of the trustees of the university and of the faculty of the College of Engineering, I solemnly and publicly confer on you the degree recommended by your dean. We admit you to all its rights and privileges and remind you of its responsibilities. Congratulations. May God bless you.
Will the candidates for the bachelor degree in the Mendoza College of Business and the faculty of the Mendoza College of Business please rise? Reverend Father President, I am pleased to present to you the candidates who have completed the requirements for the bachelor degree in the Mendoza College of Business. As Dean of the College and in the name of the faculty of the college, I now ask that you confer upon these students the degree which they have earned.
Thank you, Dean Wong. By the authority vested in me as president of the University of Notre Dame du Lac, and in the name of the trustees of the university and the faculty of the Mendoza College of Business, I solemnly and publicly confer on you the degree recommended by your dean. We admit you to all its rights and privileges and remind you of the responsibilities you are about to assume. May God bless and keep you. Congratulations.
Will the candidates for the bachelor degree in the School of Architecture and the faculty of the School of Architecture please rise? Reverend Father President, I am pleased to present to you the candidates who have completed the requirements for the bachelor's degree in the School of Architecture. As Dean of the school, in the name of the faculty of the school, I now ask that you confer upon these students the degree which they have earned.
Thank you, Dean Lakutis. By the authority vested in me as president of the University of Notre Dame du Lac, and in the name of the trustees of the university and the faculty of the School of Architecture, I solemnly and publicly confer on you the degree recommended by your dean. We admit you to all its rights and privileges and remind you of the responsibilities you are about to assume. May God bless and keep you. Congratulations. You know, we have recognized today many deserving people, but we have not yet appropriately recognized the group that is most deserving. Graduates, you would not be here if it were not for the support, care, and love of your parents, guardians, and families. They have many, many times cheered you. We need to recognize them. So graduates, please stand, turn around, and applaud those without whom you would not be here. After much ceremony and many speeches, I have little to add by way of a charge but this. Take what you have learned here at Notre Dame and let it enable you to go forth and do good. Always be generous as you can with your talent, time, and all you have in your family life, your professional life, and your spiritual life, every day of your life. Never forget your charge as a Notre Dame graduate is to go forth and do good. Keep alive the friendships you have formed here, for they will provide joy, strength, and comfort in the years ahead. They will be among the great treasures of your life. One of my true joys as president is to meet alumni of Notre Dame all around the world and hear their remarkable accomplishments and their dedicated service. There will, I'm sure, be successes and accomplishments for each of you in your future. I look forward to the time, years hence, when I will meet you and feel proud that you are a graduate of the University of Notre Dame. I'm also sure there will be challenges and frustrations, disappointments and detours in your lives. Know that you will always be in our prayers here at Notre Dame. And wherever you go, and whatever happens in your life, you will always have a home here at Notre Dame to renew your heart and refresh your spirit. God bless you all.
Thank you, Father John. There are 4 individuals on the stage who will be leaving their positions at the end of this academic year. They have each served the university and all of you with commitment, integrity, skill, and selflessness. They are Roger Wong, Dean of the Mendoza College of Business, Peter Kilpatrick, Dean of the College of Engineering, Ronald Kramer, Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information and Digital Officer, and John McGreevy, Dean of the College of Arts and Letters. Would the 4 of you please rise, and would our graduates and all the rest of us please join me in thanking them for their years of service. Class of 2018, Dr. Dye and his staff and your fellow student musicians have provided us this weekend and throughout the year with music and lifted our spirits in many different ways. And Father Foster has always led our singing at commencement. Would you join me in thanking our musicians for all they have done for us? This afternoon, the graduates on whom Father Jenkins just conferred the bachelor's degrees will receive their diplomas at ceremonies around the campus. The location of these ceremonies, all of which will begin at 2 p.m., are listed in your program. We now come to the conclusion of the 173rd commencement of the University of Notre Dame. Class of 2018, I join Father John in extending to you, on behalf of my colleagues on the board, and the faculty and the staff, the warmest wishes of your alma mater, now and for all the days of your life. Let us agree to remember each other, to support each other and help each other as members of a family, the Notre Dame family, and to work to keep this university the intellectually vibrant, supportive, spiritually rich place it has been for you, and all of us have the obligation to make sure it is for those who come after us. I wish you Godspeed, good fortune, and abundant grace. Thank you very much. Our 2018 commencement exercises will now conclude with a hymn performed by the folk choir, led by Dr. J.J. Wright, then a benediction provided by Cardinal Supich, and the singing of Notre Dame, Our Mother, led by Father Foster and accompanied by the folk choir. Afterward, the platform party and the faculty will recess from the stadium. Would all the graduates and our guests please stay in their seats until the platform party and faculty have recessed. Graduates, when you go through the tunnel, please keep walking toward the library lawn so that the graduates behind you will have room to exit. Thank you all very much for your presence, and graduates, once again, congratulations. Dr. Wright.
As you were before life.
Let us pray. Lord of all the earth, as you breathed life into nature and humanity at the dawn of creation, so too on this Pentecost day, you breathe your Spirit on us, enliven us, and bring us to new life as you did Jesus from the tomb. Quicken that same Spirit in these graduates, giving them the courage to embrace the life before them, putting aside all fear and hesitation, confident that you accompany them each day of their lives. Let them know that they are never alone, but guided with your strength and your grace. And as their parents did on their first day of school, we ask you, Lord, now to take hold of their hands in the journey before them, so that they will be emboldened to bring light where there is darkness, love where there is hatred, pardon where there is injury, and life in the midst of death's grip. We need this generation, Lord, to be the next greatest generation, to uplift those burdened in poverty and oppression, to welcome the stranger and the immigrant, to fight bravely for justice, much like that great generation of their ancestor did in the last century. They overcame the depths of depression by uniting us as one nation under God. They made a place at the table for newcomers because they remembered that they too came to this land with nothing but their hopes and their dreams. And they pushed back against the threat of tyranny, bravely sacrificing their lives for the common good. Lord, inspire these young people with your Spirit this Pentecost day, this new day of creation, to be a great generation that will make their children, their grandchildren, and the ages proud. We ask this in faith. Amen.
Please stand for the alma mater and turn and face your family members.
Notre Dame, our mother, tender, strong, and true, proudly in the heavens gleams thy gold and blue. Glory's mantle cloaks thee, golden is thy fame, and our hearts forever praise thee, Notre Dame, and our hearts forever love